Hi everybody, I'm Dave. Welcome to the tour of the Walker Farmhouse kitchen. Well, putting the kitchen back together, it was a little challenging. The kitchen was the hub of the house, and the trim work was more than the parlor, which would be expected. While cleaning the one window frame, I found an R, and what would an R? So I kept cleaning, and I found the word Larry. Larry was born in the house, and that's how we got the house off of. When we had Larry over, and I showed him that, and he says, I don't remember doing that, because I'm sure he did it as a young child. And he said, I was the only Larry that was in this house, so it had to be me. Enjoy the tour.
Larry has told us so many stories about the house. You can sort of see it scratched in there. And it was fun for David to tell him a little story, what he found out about the house. Hi friends, it's Audrey here from 1824 Walker Farmhouse, and we're going to tour the kitchen today. And I'm going to do it how I did in the parlor. I'm just going to take you the whole way around at first so you can get an idea of what the room looks like 360. And then I'll just go over some of the pieces that we have and a little bit of history of it. It's 10 o'clock in the morning on a fairly sunny day, and I just love how David thought to move the house in the position that it was in Saxonburg when we found it, the north, the south, east, and west. When I come in this room, I think, oh, it's 10 in the morning, and this is exactly what it would have looked like on a sunny day where the house was, where the Walkers lived. I do the same for when it's 3 o'clock, 4 or 5, whatever time of the day is. Many times that's how my thought process goes to how it looked like that time of the day. I absolutely love the size of these windows. Now, in 1824, in the town that the Walkers were at, they were taxed on these windows. And there's 4 big ones in the front of the house, and there's 2 small ones in the back. So they wanted you to know that they were a prominent family. When we give house tours, I want people to know exactly how it was when Rebecca was here raising all her children. This kitchen is so big, I just imagine that somebody was spinning in the corner. This is a grandma's wheel. It's not operating now, but I have plans to have it operate. I love to spin. And then I have like a chair, and I just don't like everything perfect in the house. I think that things would have been worn with 10 children running around. And I just picture somebody by the fireplace with all the kids in the room, since the woodwork was so bad, perhaps reading a book, drinking something cool on a hot day, or in the winter to have a foot warmer, because this is where the fireplace was. We didn't rebuild it. You can see where the break there in the wall, and it came the whole way over to here. For now, I'm just using this table as a work table, like perhaps it would have been in the kitchen. But there was a fireplace here. We kept all the bricks. The bricks were made on the land. And I don't know, sometimes we think we're going to build it up and sometimes we don't. But this is what we have in that space for now. This is Mr. Zabolski in front of the fireplace in the kitchen. This is a tin oven, and I had a cooking group here, which is why I had all the flat pack cookie cutters, and I was explaining what tin ovens are. And I had to bring this out of the house because I'll be honest with you, in the winter, Dave and I still use this. We've roasted a chicken in it. There are 2 pieces of furniture in the kitchen that are not from the 1800s, and this stove is one of them. But the reason I wanted a stove here is because this house had a stove, a cook stove, in the house for, I don't know, maybe 100 years. And so I just thought it was really neat. Mr. Zabolski had told us, like, you know, his dad would get up, his mom and dad would get up and be stoking this all the time for heat. They didn't use the fireplace for heat. And this table is made out of wood from our farm. This used to be in our kitchen at one time. So it's just near and dear to our hearts, and it fits here perfectly. We've had workshops here, and it's just a good sturdy table. Our daughters had birthday parties here, so we just love this table. This little vignette has three of my favorite things to collect. I love Pennsylvania furniture that's painted. Being that I'm from Pennsylvania, I just think it's special. And I think for how early the house is, most of it would have been from Pennsylvania. And I absolutely love little kids' toys, early toys. There's like a tin pudding container that my mom used to make pudding at Christmas time that you put the sauce over, so I just love that. And just little dishes. And then one year David made me wooden bowls. He made little cutting boards. And I love to collect textiles, and I just thought this was awesome. It's a youth bib, and the browns in it are absolutely beautiful. We are so fortunate to have a set of 6 painted Pennsylvania chairs. These are very rare because they have the Americana shield at the end of them. They're probably from 1876. David gets a little nervous when I have parties, but they're meant to be used. This is not a museum. This is where, these were in our kitchen at one time. When our kids were teenagers, David took them out. But I just think they're beautiful. There's 13 stars on the shield. Many people have said they're the only set that they've ever seen with Americana shield on them. So if you know of another set or have seen them elsewhere, please let me know. We just love them. When people tour the house, I get questions asked a lot about these pictures. There's this one, and then I have this one below it, and they're called memoriams, and it's in memory to somebody that passed away, something that we don't do now. We don't have pictures like this now, but they were prints, and you would fill them in. I love this green chair, and the reason I bought it was for the trim on it. I just thought it was so unique and unusual. Well, here we had a group come, and they were from Old Economy Village, and they were Harmonites, and they made furniture. And this is like a distinctive piece of Harmony furniture. And I did not know that. I just bought it because I liked the color, I liked how it was. And I was tickled to find that out. I should write it on the bottom because my kitchen table is in the house that we live in. It's from Harmony, PA, and it came out of a Harmony kitchen. So that was sort of like a really neat connection. As you can see, the same as the parlor, all through the house. The ceilings are very high. David made this lighting, but the candles sort of bend in the summer, so I put them back up in the winter. He made it out of a post bed, a rope bed post, and that's what they would have done then. They would have just used whatever they had. And the beams are original to the house. The woodwork in this room is all original. When the house was built, it was all stained like it was in the parlor. But we were fortunate to be able to have a color analysis done of the woodwork in the house. This was first painted in 1830, and Rebecca and Jonathan got married in 1827. So I just think it's like a woman's thing to want to paint and change things around. We had the analysis done on every layer and every color, but this was the first color of paint. And we just love it. So we just, instead of stripping the woodwork down, we thought it would be fun to have the green from that color. I'm having a hard time with the lighting trying to show really what the true green is. You can see, though, the woodwork in the kitchen. Oh, it was really something. Most loved and lived in room. I don't know if this is any better. That's more like the true color. And as you can see, David, he hit all the electrical outlets, and then we painted them just to blend in so they wouldn't stick out in the house. If anyone is curious if this is hooked up, no, it isn't. But we entertain a lot up here, so we just use an extension cord and put our roasters, crock pots on it. Where we live, in the farmhouse that we live, Dave did do a foundation for one of them, and oh boy, sometimes I'm tempted to move this over there. I would love to cook in one, but maybe down the road. And this crock pot we use for garbage. And David made me this, I love this utensil holder. I saw one at an antique store once, and he made this, I believe, out of an old piece of farm equipment. And he made the skewers there. He liked to make some and put them in our Etsy account, but he's really busy. He does like restoration for log cabins. He's done like hinges and gate things, and I don't know. He's always busy with clients on doing things. So I hope, someday he'll get caught up and they'll be in our Etsy account. We love to decorate, and Dave made me all the tie backs, all the curtain tie backs in the house to exactly how I wanted them. We have some ram's horns, tulips, all in the 1800s manner. So that was pretty exciting and just adds a personal touch for me. I belong to our local Allegheny Township Historical Society, and we have our meetings here. It's really fun. If anybody's interested in history in the area, you're more than welcome to come. But this corner of the house, we have like a little history area with picture frames of information about the township. And also this bowl and paddle were given to me from a local person, and they're from the Hawk Farm. And also my friend Cindy, she is a sober, and this was from an old house in the township, and everybody just calls it the sober house. Well, this is one of my prized possessions in the house. This is original to the house, the white dry sink that was once a wet sink. And they put the backboard on the wall for a shelf when they converted it to a wet sink. But they didn't throw anything out in those days. So when we brought the sink over here, and I'll show you a picture of it, David took the sink out, and I said, oh, I think there's a piece of wood from the house that we have in the barn, and it fit perfectly. And it was their shelf. They made it a shelf in the kitchen, but it fits on the back. This was the backboard. So the original backboard is back on this dry sink. Well, I saved the best for last. The most thing that I love the most in this house is this cupboard, because it is an original to the house. Original paint, probably made from the wood of the land. It had at one time a little bit of wallpaper inside, and the fork and the plate there we dug out from underneath the foundation. So that's like my most sentimental piece here. For me to touch what Rebecca touched is, I don't know, that's awesome to me.
Thanks for taking the tour, everybody. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section. I'll answer them, get back to you, and see you next time. Thanks.